Supermicro is super crap. Down 18% today, down 1% after hours. I remember at one point today it was down 25%. On Tuesday it closed at 28.29. On Wednesday today it opened at 23.66. And this is all pre-market trading because the market doesn't open until 9:30, which is right here. So at 9:30 it was 21.89. So it went from 23.66 in pre-market down to 20.60. It definitely moved around a lot. It reached its lowest point a little before 10 at 9:57 at 20.31. And then it closed the day at 22.52. I know a lot of people think this is a buying opportunity, but I think you're going to burn a lot of money if you buy the stock. Last night they published a press release. We'll go through that. Before we go through that, I just want to highlight a couple of things. You probably know that E&Y, Ernst & Young's, quit. They don't want to be associated with this company. They don't want to do their financials. This is putting SMCI in a tough position because they need to report their financials. Their year end was due 6/30. They should have released it in August. And this is not their first rodeo. The same exact thing happened in 2018. So 6 years ago, the company was briefly delisted from the Nasdaq because they didn't report financials for nearly 2 years. History may not repeat, but it definitely rhymes. It's rhyming in this case. They did settle with the SEC in August 2020 over violations in accounting practices between 2014 and 2017, and they paid $17.5 million in penalties. When a company gets in trouble like this, there's usually a handful of bad actors. It's not like the company as a whole is bad. There's a few bad apples. So they fired those bad employees. But the crazy thing is they hired almost all of them back. The same cycle. Too bad I didn't do more due diligence and learn about this because I could have shorted the stock and made a lot of money. Hindenburg was on top of it. They figured it out before the rest of us did. Now let's go through their press release to see why the stock went down 20% today, 25% at its worst point. They expect to report their third quarter financials, the financials ending 9/30/2024. Everybody's waiting for these financials. Are they ever going to report? They did give a range of 5.9 billion to 6 billion of revenue, which is below guidance. Guidance is 6 to 7 billion. That's a big reason stock came down today, because revenue fell below guidance. Margins are still down a lot, 13.3%. They were close to 17-18% for a long time. They expect EPS to be between 68 and 70 cents. Wall Street was expecting 60 to 77 cents, so that's within the range. They expect to report total cash of 2.1 billion and total debt of 2.3 billion, so they're upside down. They have 600 million of bank debt and 1.7 billion of convertible notes. If you hold convertible notes, that's a debt instrument. You receive interest payments, periodic interest payments. And if the stock goes up a lot, you can convert the debt to equity. So it's like a hybrid instrument. You get the benefits of the guaranteed interest with the potential to convert that into stock and get the upside appreciation. They also give guidance for second quarter fiscal year 2025. Revenue 5.5 to 6.1 billion. Their second quarter of 2025 is the period ending 12/31/2024. Because their fiscal year ends 6/30. Their 2024 fiscal year end is 6/30/2024. So that completes their 2024 fiscal year. Their first quarter of 2025 ends 9/30/2024. Second quarter of 2025 ends 12/31/2024. Their third quarter of 2025 ends 3/31/2025. And their fiscal year end for 2025 ends 6/30/2025. The special committee has completed its investigation based on a set of initial concerns raised by EY. Ernst & Young is their accounting firm. Following a 3-month investigation led by independent counsel, the committee's investigation to date has found that the audit committee has acted independently and that there is no evidence of fraud or misconduct on the part of management or the board of directors. That was a big issue with Ernst & Young. They noted that management and the board were acting together. They shouldn't act together. They should be separate because the board oversees management. For example, the CEO, the CFO, they're just employees of the company. If you own stock, you own the company. They're your employees. And you vote on a board of directors to oversee management and make sure they're doing the correct things. When the management of the company influences the board, then you can have some major problems. In this case, it's fraud. The committee is recommending a series of remedial measures for the company to strengthen its internal governance and oversight functions. And the committee expects to deliver the full report on the completed work this week or next. It's going to be a lot of spin control, as it always is. They're going to say board and management are not commingling, they act separate, there's no misconduct, everything's on the up and up. Because the CEO makes billions of dollars from this company. He gives a lot of that money to his family because his siblings have opened up companies where this company buys products from those companies. Not just a few $1,000,000. This company has spent nearly $1 billion buying product from the CEO's brother's companies. Let's get back to this. The special committee has other work that is ongoing but expects to be completed soon. There's always delays with this company. They can never just get straight to the point. We're working diligently to complete our 10K for fiscal year end 6/30/2024, but we cannot predict at this time when the 10K will be filed. It was due August 29th, so now it's 2 months late. Some of their loans are contingent on this company providing their 10K on time. So this company had to amend their loan agreements so they wouldn't be in breach of the loans and be forced to pay the billions of dollars of debt that they owe. The company announced on 9/20 that it received a notification letter from the Nasdaq stating that the company is not in compliance with Nasdaq listing. When you're a public company, you have to file your financials on time. That's one of the most difficult things when being a public company. There's a lot of scrutiny, a lot of paperwork. You have to hire several accountants, internal and external, in order to meet these quotas. Under the Nasdaq rules, the company has 60 days from the date of the notice either to file the 10K or to submit a plan to Nasdaq to regain compliance. If a plan is submitted and accepted, the company is granted 180 days in order to regain compliance. But if the Nasdaq does not accept the company's plan, then the company will have the opportunity to appeal that decision to a Nasdaq hearings panel. I think there's a decent chance the Nasdaq will not accept the plan, because this is the second time this happened. It's kind of like if you're 18 years old and you steal your neighbor's car. You might get in trouble, possibly some jail time, but if it's your first offense, you might get a slap on the wrist. But if a year later you steal someone else's car, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. They're at the fool me twice level now, so I think Nasdaq may have to make an example of this company. It is really interesting learning about this stuff. I highly suggest you do it as well because I learn a lot when things don't go right. When there are mistakes or things get messy, that's when you really learn. I'm sure you've noticed that on your job or playing a sport. You learn a lot when things don't go right. So let's all learn together. If you want to become a master at reading financial statements, click on the video in the top right corner. Thanks for watching.